Hey guys, and welcome to my new Tachikaze video. For my Tachikaze deck, this is my Raptor deck profile. I'll be going over all the effects in each of the grades of this deck. In the comment section below, please feel free to write down all your thoughts on what could be taken out of this deck or what you think could be improved. Okay, let's get started. So to start off with our starting Vanguard, we are running the one copy of the Military Dragon Raptor Soldier. Raptor Soldier's effect: when the Raptor Sergent is put onto this card, it rises this card. Reveal the top 7 cards of your deck, and look for the Military Dragon Raptor Captain. And add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. When another Tachikaze unit other than Raptor Sergeant rides this card, call it to the rear Vanguard zone. So you get a good effect either way. Next, the 4 stand triggers of Pack Dragon Tinyrex. I decided to run another one of him in here because this deck's primarily Raptor based, and you can never go wrong with an extra 10,000 shield. 4 copies of our Savage Shaman as our hill trigger. Now I know in my previous deck profiles I tried to include at least one Savage type monster in each of the grades. I've had to not go along that plot line for this deck in order to concentrate all the good cards. Four copies of our critical trigger Black Cannon Tiger. Now in most of my games I seem to not be drawing the criticals when I'm attacking. I seem to be drawing them in my draw phase and when I'm taking damage. Both those points are useless for getting criticals. It's like the deck hates me. And 4 copies of the Herbivorous Dragon Brutosaurus as our 4 draw triggers. So the triggers haven't changed in this deck. That finishes off the grade 0s. Now onto the grade 1s. And we're running 4 copies of the Military Dragon Raptor Sergeant. Now, if Raptor Soldier is in the soul, this card gains 1,000 power. And when Military Captain rides this card, I can search my deck for another Raptor Sergeant and put this card in the rear Vanguard zone. So when the grade 2 rises, I can search my deck for another Sergeant and bring that second Sergeant to the rear Vanguard zone. And of course that equals out to a 17,000 power attack right there, since when Sergeant's in the soul, the Captain gains 1,000 power. Four copies of the Sonic Noah. I absolutely love running this card because it's an 8,000 power and an 8,000 power boost, and it's one of my more favourite grade 1s. 4 copies of the Ring Dragon Beamptero. This card's effect is basically just revenge whenever it gets destroyed, because when it's sent from the rear Vanguard zone to the drop zone, I can select one of my other Tachikaze units, and that unit in turn gains 3,000 power. So there's a lot of power boosting for destruction in the Tachikazes. 4 copies of the Archbird. Now the Archbird is what's known as a perfect guard. And even though perfect guards have a shield power of 0, which might seem a little pointless, a perfect guard is one of the more valuable cards in the deck because it can block any form of attack. I like to use the perfect guards primarily against my mate Tribanuka's Dark Irregular deck. There should be a link in the annotations in this video taking you to a video of the Dark Irregulars being used in action. They are a very powerful deck. My old Tachikaze deck actually had trouble beating it, but this one beats it with minimal difficulty. And to finish off the grade 1s, 2 copies of Transporter Dragon Brachioporter. Now the Brachio cards, when the lower grade is destroyed, I can bring out the stronger one. Sorry, the next grade up. So when the grade 1 Brachioporter is sent from the rear Vanguard zone to the drop zone, I can encounter the +1 and call out from my deck the Grade 2 Brachiocarrier. I'm running 2 copies of each Brachio grade in this deck, so I'll show you those as we go further into it. That finishes off the Grade 1s. Now for the Grade 2s. 3 copies of the Raptor Captain. Now when Raptor Sergeant's in the soul, this card gains 1000 power, giving it 10,000 power when it's played. Very, very cool effect. When Raptor Colonel rides this card, which is the Grade 3, I don't have any of him in this deck yet because he's not in English yet. When the Raptor Colonel rides this card, I can search my deck for a Raptor Captain and call that out to the rear vanguard zone, and then shuffle my deck. So they all have similar effects, but they just bring themselves back up from the deck when the next grade on rides them. 2 copies of Raptor no, this is not a Raptor. Cannon Fire Dragon, Cannon Gear. Some of you might already be aware of his effects if you've seen my other Tachikaze deck profiles. If you're not familiar with him, when he's called to the rear vanguard zone or the vanguard zone, I can choose one of my rear vanguards and retire it. When this unit's the vanguard and it's being boosted by a Tachikaze unit, it gains 2,000 power. So he likes to boost himself a lot. 2 copies of the Carrier Dragon Brachiocarrier. When this card is sent from the rear vanguard zone to the drop zone, counterblast 1 to call a card called Citadel Dragon Brachiocarrier to the rear vanguard zone, and then shuffle my deck. Now the Brachiocarrier, I think, will actually surprise you when you see it, because it doesn't look like a dinosaur at all. And to finish off the Grade 2s, 2 copies of our Assault Dragon Pachyphalos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but whenever on the turn he is attacking, if a Tachikaze unit was sent from the rear vanguard zone to the drop zone that turn, he gains an additional 3,000 power. So I could call him, and then retire Beamptero. He'll gain 1,000. He'll gain 3,000. Then I could put the 3,000 power effect of Beamptero onto him, and that will take him up to 14,000. A lot of very useful combinations in this deck. And that rounds up our Grade 2s. Now for the Grade 3s. 2 copies of the Tyrant Deathrex. This card is just fantastic because of its 5,000 power boost. So really when it attacks, it's already got 15,000 points. Combining that with Sonic Noah boosting it, and that's 23,000 points, which a lot of my opponents have trouble blocking, especially on the twin drives when I manage to get a trigger. They don't like it. I have a new savage creature in the Grade 3s, which is known as the Savage Warchief. I would highly recommend the Savage Warchief instead of the Savage King, primarily because the Savage King requires you to use up your souls, which limits his effect. And his effect only takes him up to 12,000 from 9,000 because it's a 3,000 power boost. So the Savage Warchief can exceed that 12,000 power boost, simply because when it's boosted it instantly gains 2,000 power on top of its already 10,000 power. So just by simply being boosted, it's got 12,000 points already, and then you add on the boost. So combine him with Sonic Noah, and that's 20,000 points that you can attack your opponent with, and there's no soul cost whatsoever, and you don't destroy any of your other Tachikaze units, like the Savage King makes you do. So I would recommend the Savage Warchief instead of the Savage King, primarily because of that effect. Plus, he looks like he could kill anything in his path, doesn't he? And to finish off the Grade 3s, 2 copies of Citadel Dragon Brachiocarrier. Now look at this card. Look how many guns are on that. It's a complete death machine. So, this card's effect when it's up from the rear vanguard zone to the drop zone. Counter +1, and I can call from my deck Transporter Dragon Brachioporter. So upon killing the grade 3, the grade 1 starts the cycle off again. It's a never-ending monster cycle. And that finishes off our grade 3s of the deck. Thank you so much for watching this Tachikaze Vanguard deck profile. Please subscribe to my channel so I can continue making these videos. Please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. This is EvilCurse wishing you a very good day, and thank you so very much for watching again. Goodbye.